Legislature parties in Vidhan Soudha. We have three major legislature parties in Vidhan Soudha. One is the ruling party BJP, BJLP. The other one is Congress Legislature Party. And the last one is the JDS Legislature Party. But what exactly the Legislature Party means? And there are certain guidelines being issued by the Election Commission. If I am right, I can read out some of the contents, how it has been recognized. A party is recognized as a state party in any state if any of the following conditions are fulfilled. The first is if it secures 6% of valid votes polled in the state at the general election to the Legislative Assembly of the state concerned, and in addition it wins 2 seats in the Assembly of the state concerned, and that is the first condition. And the second condition, if it wins 3% of in the Legislative Assembly at the general elections to the Legislative Assembly of the state concerned, or 3 seats in the Assembly, whichever is more. And if it secures 8% of total valid votes polled in the state at the general election to the Lok Sabha from the state or the Legislative Assembly of the state, and these conditions are being changed or upgraded. And this is the first most important. And the second important is, as you know, our country is a free India, and we have a form of association as a fundamental right. In this association, you can see that we have certain aims and objectives. If we express certain social, cultural, as well as the cooperative ideas, and if they are politically having their own objectives, then ultimately it has been recognized, and there is a provision that the Election Commission recognizes. And here in Vidhan Soudha, as I told you, we have 3 major political parties. And now the first most thing, let us go to what is called as the BJP Legislature Party, Bharatiya Janata Party Legislature Party. This is being headed by Honorable Chief Minister Shri Basuraj Bommai and the Office Secretary C.T. Suresh Sharma. Namaste. Yeah, this is the BJP Legislature Party, room number 133A, and in fact we are just going inside, and this is a Secretariat services being provided. He happens to be one of the senior most member who does all the Secretariat services, particularly for the members. And since this is a session time, and most of the members are sitting inside and their peers are also sitting here, if you go inside, here this happens to be a secretary who sits here. I told you, Suresh happens to be one of the senior most members. He is office secretary of this BJP, Bharatiya Janata Legislature Party. And here all the peers are all sitting, even the honorable member is also sitting here. He is seeking some of the services which are very essential. Then we'll go further. This is an ante-room where the members, particularly the members, come over here, they take rest here. This is one small office. Then we'll go to the hall where exactly the legislature party meeting will be held. And this is a huge hall, and one of my good friends, the Maharaj, is there. And here the members, especially the PA, almost all the MLAs have been seated here and watching the proceedings of the house. And this is where exactly the BJP meeting may be held here or in the conference hall, whichever it is very convenient. And you see the founders of the BJP party, Deendayal Sharma, one is Shama Prasad Mukherjee. These are the founders of the BJP, and especially the head of this BJP, to say that Honorable Chief Minister is Basuraj Bommai. And now he has recently announced a populist scheme in his budget, and today the debate is going on, and particularly during the session time, almost from every corner of the state will converge here and see what exactly the program is going on. Namaste. Well, right now I'm just in the western side of Vidhan Soudha, and here opposite to the Congress Legislature Party, room number 101. Just let me go inside the Congress Legislature Party, how exactly it is been structurally wise composed, and now we are just going to the first point is that the office secretariat point, and wherein the secretariat services are being provided, and we have good infrastructure. Every infrastructure has been provided where it has been primarily meant for the members. And here one of the senior most officer, he's been working here, and one of the senior most officer, he works as a office secretary, Mr. Shankar sir. And again we have another man, Mr. Shrikant, who works as assistant for the him, particularly since 23 years he's been working here, and he takes over the information services. As you know that particularly as a secretary of the of this political party, they help in coordinating with the members of MLA as well as MLCs. Not only that, in conveying a party meeting, particularly the legislature party meeting is held here, and it has been headed by the leader of opposition, Sri Siddaramaiah ji, and the party agenda is being worked out here, and the party meeting, particularly during the session time, has been held here, and we have a very huge, spacious one. It's a very big hall here, and this is located in the western side of this monumental building. And we have few photos of all the Congress stalwarts. It may be right from beginning of Srimati Indira Gandhi, Pandit Nehru, Rahul Gandhi, then Srimati Sonia Gandhi, and others also. But coming to the exactly what exactly this the party is the second largest party, and Sri Siddaramaiah happens to be the leader of the opposition, and he's been here, and this is how the party is functioning here. And here in this hall we see Govindu, the president photo, as well as the government circular which has been issued, that is to have Lord Basaveshwara's photos also. This has been added here. And overall, when we come to the legislature, the Congress legislature party, but I would like to give a brief note of the Congress legislature party, which happens to be the oldest legislature party in the country. And say it is 150-year-old Congress legislature party, and there was a cry beginning. It was started by A.O. Hume, and he is the man who started up, and then the Congress party in 1906 demanded the self-government, and later on Swaraj, they demanded the unofficial parliament, and again they tried to associate with the government, and that is how the freedom movements.
Yes.
Well, under the legislature party right now, I am at the JDS office, the room number 141. Let me go inside the room. And this happens to be one of the prime office of JDS. And so this is where the president of the JDMP, actually Kumaraswamy sir, will sit. I mean, he's a leader, in a sense. And the JP, the founder of the JP movement, I mean, Jayaprakash Narayan ji, former Prime Minister, Shri Devagowda ji, as well as Shri Kumaraswamy, who happens to be the luckiest difference. Yes, you know, some of the popular scheme, loan waiver is happened to be a popular scheme, a farmer-oriented budget, and this 2 times is government came. And this is where the JDLP sits and takes the decision, and with the smaller the infrastructure, and that happens to be anti-chamber. And we talk about the origin of the JDS particularly. You see that during the JP movement, that is, Lokdal was there and Janata Party was there, and again, see, you know, Janata Dal came into existence, and Janata and Dal came into existence with the participation, and they combined together themselves. After that, a series of cases were there, and finally the wheel symbol was allotted by the Election Commission of India, and later on Janata Dal United as well as Janata Dal Secular, headed by the former Prime Minister Shri Devagowda sir. And one important aspect, they were just opposed in the non-Congress, and usually they were the first to start up a government, especially twice. They ruled the state, particularly with the popular scheme. Many more popular schemes were there. And here, this is a office with full infrastructure, and it is being provided by Karnataka Legislative Assembly. If the strength of the party MLAs is under 23, they are eligible to get the legislature party. That's what I have heard. And as we go to this anti-chamber, fortunately it's the same, one in the same, they have the same accommodations and good infrastructure also. And apart from that, though, nothing else. And finally, what I want to conclude is that the JDS is always a kingmaker. Particularly, many a times you see that they have played a very important role, and they have given the most populist, measures for the farmers also. Indeed, And many of the popular schemes which has been given by them are loan waiver scheme, as I told you, and especially for the women development and women empowerment was also.